today for our focus on Florida. I keep hearing from all of you that you are incredibly weary of your own homes, your own neighborhoods, your own cities, which is understandable by this point. I think we can all agree on that. I also hear from clients and agent colleagues around the world that if they're fortunate enough to have a vacation home already, that is likely where they spent at least some time during lockdown. And if you don't have a vacation home to retreat to, it was likely that you spent some time during lockdown dreaming about a place for friends and family to gather and create memories. It's possibly something you've been envisioning for quite a while. So for that reason, we are highlighting in this series our colleagues, our KW experts around the country and indeed around the world, and asking them what makes their part of the world so special. So as we're putting those second homes and vacation homes on our goals and vision boards, what opportunities are there for us to actually put these into reality? So today, I'm so excited because we are being joined by our friends from the Sunshine State, Florida, one of my favorite states in the U.S. The proximity of the peninsula of Florida being kind of flanked by the Gulf of Mexico and the Atlantic Ocean just makes it a favorite spot for second homes, investors, and even retirees. So whether it's Miami, Sarasota, the North Shore, or fun-loving Key West, or Amelia Island, over the next 45 minutes we have together, we're going to share with you why Florida and its 1,300 miles of beaches is the right place to build those memories. So we are thrilled because of the caliber of the experts that are going to participate with us today. Let me introduce you to them. First, we have TOSHA Corrigan, who specializes in Destin, Seaside, and the 30A area. We also have with us the debonair Oliver Davis from the Miami area, and let's not forget the incomparable BRANDY Coffee, representing the incomparable Sarasota, Florida area. From Amelia Island on the Atlantic, which is part of the Sea Islands chain, the wonderful CC Underwood, and one of my favorite places in the world, the Florida Keys with Michael Bemke. So welcome all of you. Thank you. Much gratitude for you spending part of your day with us. So for our viewing audience, let me tell you what we're going to do, the format for today. We're going to have a series of Q&A with each of our experts, and then at the end of our talk today, they're going to share with you some of their properties in each of their respective cities. Now, we do have a chat box open if you have a pressing question, and if we have time, we will get to it. Or at the end, we will have everyone's contact information, so you're welcome to reach out to them directly. So let's get started. And I am going to start with Oliver. Tell us, why Florida? Why, of all the places in the world, why would a prospect want to buy there?
Well, I mean, the first and foremost answer, I think, is pretty obvious, and it's the sun. You know, we have pretty amazing weather pretty much all year round. And, you know, it's an easy to get to destination for the entire Eastern Seaboard, as well as most of the rest of the country. We have a huge international attractiveness, you know, with direct access to South America, Central America, multiple islands, and all in all, just a great lifestyle.
Okay. Brandy, do you want to add to that and maybe talk a little bit about, you know, some more financial benefits such as taxes or the cost to carry property?
Absolutely. Well, we are a no state income, so that always helps. I know you're the same in Texas. So we are attracting right now primarily from Illinois, Cook County, Illinois, Westchester, New York, Connecticut, Fairfax County, and Virginia, and also Michigan. So we have the Midwest in addition to that kind of Eastern Seaboard that Oliver was mentioning. So it's a really nice mix. And of course, we do have a lot of people coming from South America too. So it's great. It gives us great culture.
In TOSHA, can I ask you, for your city, your area, because I know you cover kind of a broader section, how much of your market is secondary homes? And adding to what kind of Brandy opened up, where are those buyers coming from? Where's that feeder market?
Yeah. So a lot of the Southeast. I mean, we have our area in general, I would say we're probably about 75% second home vacation rental market. Yeah. And there are a lot of great opportunities here. So our feeder markets are going to be, I'm just going to name some of the big ones because there are a lot. Atlanta, Nashville, Dallas, Houston, New Orleans, Baton Rouge. We're starting to see more people coming from Indiana, Illinois, those states now than we did before.
That's interesting to me, 75%. Is that true for all of you? So this is a question anyone can answer. Is that about what you have in your markets? I mean, that's pretty high.
I would say Miami's probably the lowest of the group here. We probably have the largest group of year-round full-time population. Probably maybe because we're more of a major city, we're more of an international destination and whatnot. So we tend to have, we're probably, in my market specifically, probably somewhere more like 50-50. About 50% full-time and 50% vacation, second home, what we call snowbirds, winter residents, things like that.
That sounds like us also, Oliver, pretty similar, 50-50. Our population doubles. The population in the city of Sarasota is around 60,000, and it increases significantly from January through May. And then later, if you look at South County and all of Sarasota County, it's about 433,000 in population. So, you see that increase significantly through those prime months, but it's probably 50-50, like Oliver said.
What about you, Michael? I mean, when I think of the Keys, I just think of party, but I'm sure there's people that actually live there, and have regular lives. So tell us a little bit more about kind of the makeup of your purchasers and your residents.
Well, 80% of our business is tourism. So if you aren't a second home owner, you're catering to the second homeowner. So there is a long-standing tradition. They're called conchs. The Queen Conch is my son and daughter both graduated from the fighting conch, which seems to be a little oxymoron when they're a slow-moving muscle organism. But the fighting conchs have fourth and fifth and even sixth generations that have grown up here in the islands. But for the most part, the question is, where are you originally from? Because somebody is typically relocated from somewhere else to the Keys. And then they immediately try to say that they're a freshwater conch. So I think that we're probably 60% is second home. But there is a large population of people who call it home now, which, the second home designation falls off.
Right. And Cece, I think that your area is so, it's so picturesque. If people have not been to, Amelia Island, I really think it needs to be on your list. For you, what are you seeing in terms of ownership? Is it 50-50, 75? Who makes up your demographics?
So the Nassau County, Amelia Island, primarily, you do have, I would say we're probably 40 to 50% range on the island itself. It's just a very high resort. And a lot of our buyers, they're not necessarily buying right now to live, maybe similar to you guys for that second home. It's a future retirement home. So many of our buyers are from New York, New Jersey, from that tri-state area, some Atlanta. And I think just in general, Jacksonville and Amelia Island, that cost of living is really low in comparison to some of the other second home cities and you can also, we have duplexes and bed and breakfasts. There's just a large variety of, those second and rental home markets. And typically what we'll see is they'll buy they'll buy today, but they will retire in 2 to 3 years. So it ends up being their primary residence in a few years.
That would definitely be me. I'm looking to buy something where I can retire in a few years. Hopefully. So back to Oliver, I've got a question for you. Maybe this is more of kind of a tangible financial thing, because I think a lot of people, like Cece was just saying, they want to purchase something now. I mean, I think while the market is pretty brisk, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit, and not move in. And so what are you seeing in your area? And I know your city's maybe a little bit bigger, as you mentioned, not as much a vacation spot for some, but what are you seeing in your area in terms of monetizing that purchase as a rental until that buyer is ready to be there full time?
Yeah, we're seeing quite a bit of that. We're having, much like Cece said, we're having a lot of buyers buy with the intention of future use, and we're renting those units out for them immediately, whether it's a condo or a house. In some areas, they're able to do short-term rentals, vacation type rentals. In other areas, they have to do a longer term, year-round rental or 6 months plus, et cetera. But we're getting quite a bit of buyers taking advantage of the great mortgage rates right now, and obviously advantage of our tax benefits and things like that. But they're not ready to necessarily leave their home state yet. Either kids might still be in school or things like that. So they're really planning for the next, anywhere from 2 years to 5 to 10 years out. So we're seeing quite a bit of that, and they can, in many cases, they can cover all of their expenses or most of their expenses by renting out a property in the interim.
So, okay, let's repeat that. I think that's worth repeating. And
Sure.
and for anyone, any of the other agents on here, if you want to chime in on this, is it accurate to say that in any of your areas you could rent the property out for a portion of the year and cover your carry costs, I mean, obviously it would depend on what their mortgage is, but generally speaking, their overall holding costs for the entire year?
Yes, for me.
Yeah.
It's possible. It would, like you said, it would depend on how much they're financing, et cetera, and whether or not they can take advantage of a short-term vacation rental type situation, which is going to probably command a little bit more income than a longer-term rental situation.
Right. Is that true with you, Michael, too, as well in the Keys?
It's why us realtors have jobs. Anyone in the area really needs a professional to navigate them through what Oliver said, areas that are rental friendly and areas that are not. In our area, it's interesting. I've done a lot of the return on investment. A cash buyer typically is getting about 3.5%. And what that really means, and that's a return on their money for whatever they're buying, compared to a strip mall or something like that, may not be overly amusing, but typically if it's in a vacation format, they're able to use the property throughout the year.
Right.
You're not vacationing in your strip mall. But if you were able to take advantage of the very low interest rates right now, 3.5%, if you're getting that as an interest rate on your mortgage, you basically get a 3.5% return on what you're investing in a property. So it's been advantageous, even though our prices have been a little on the higher side.
Now, Brandy, I hope I'm not putting you on the spot, but am I remembering correctly that you also have a property management company?
Yes, we have a property management company, a repair and remodel company, and we also have a staging and design company, because a lot of times people will not have the time to furnish the home, whether it's just vacation furniture or if it's something eventually they're going to move into, where they're just renting it out to a long-term renter half the year and then using it half the year and then eventually retiring. So we have so many different types of renters, as Oliver said, and it just depends on the bedroom size. I mean, I have a rental right now on Anna Maria. It's 5 bedrooms. It's the first year renting it. They'll probably make 140, not gross, but net 140. But they're not really coming and staying in it. It's maybe a weekend here and there. But then you have other people that it's going to carry the cost. It'll cover all those costs, and then maybe you'll make 10,000 or 12,000 if you're lucky. Maybe I'll say 18,000 on something that people are using more as a net.
Interesting. So Tasha, is this a fair question? Can you share with us how much the properties in your area have appreciated, let's just say in the last 2 or 3 years?
I mean, we've definitely seen appreciation in that amount of time. I would say that each neighborhood for us is so different. So, for Destin, that number is different than it would be for Seaside or it would be for Rosemary Beach. We have definitely not reached the pricing that we were at for 05 and 06, which was the height of the market here. And the bottom of our market was in 2010. So, we're kind of floating somewhere there in the middle.
But I think that's healthy, right?
Yeah.
When things shoot up, they sometimes drop.
Absolutely.
So it's fair to say that you've seen some appreciation, a healthy appreciation year after year since 2010.
Yeah, definitely. We definitely have. And to add to the conversation about the vacation rentals, a lot of the clients that we work with, a lot of the investors, they're looking for a 10% return on, their investment. So 10% of their purchase price is what they have in mind. And that's going to, for the most part, that's going to pay all the bills and may have a little extra in their pocket.
But how incredible to be able to, I mean, this is the way my mind works, is I could have my money in the stock market, and everyone needs to be diversified. We're obviously not financial advisors, but just from a very basic perspective, I can have my money there working for me.
Mm-hmm.
I could have my money in my home, which obviously is our primary investment, the most important one. But when you have extra money, why not have it in something that you can use, enjoy, create memories, and see a financial benefit? And to me, it's obvious. It's an obvious choice. And it's so exciting because people like you who are experts in your respective areas really can advise. And I can't remember who, maybe it was Michael, who said, you really do need someone who can speak to the property management aspect, can talk about what areas, what neighborhoods, what buildings will allow you to do short-term rentals or long-term. I mean, some people prefer not dealing with that kind of day in and day out of people coming and going. But really to have someone entrenched in that market to be able to help you get to this financial goal, because we are all, part of that picture for our clients and our buyers. Not only sell them something, but be part of the solution. I think it's a privilege. It's incredibly exciting to hear in your areas that this is easy to attain. I mean, with good guidance. That's fantastic. So, Cece, talk to me about your area. What is high season, and are there months that are more favorable than others?
Absolutely. What's great, I think, about the St. Augustine, Jacksonville, Amelia Island is we have a lot of golf. So PGA brings a ton. Certainly with all that has gone on this year, it was all the short-term rentals was an instant slashing. Everyone pulled out homes, some of the vacation rentals that were booked months in advance. They were all stopped, and of course everything was returned. So outside of that, I would say like the beginning of the year. So January, our snowbird season, our high event season, we have a lot of festivals. Jacksonville is known for a lot of shrimp festivals and jazz festivals and the golf. So during those seasons, our high peak, and for those that have short-term rentals, they're really going to maximize their return on those week-long rentals.
Does anybody else's area differ in terms of high season?
Ours is pretty the same. It's January through April. I mean, you'll see some people in May. Some of the barrier islands like Anna Maria and Siesta Key, they're busy all year long. So a lot of families and Europeans will come in the summer because it's more affordable. That's when you'll see those 5-bedroom homes rent 73% of the year versus maybe 50 to 60, like some of the other mainland homes. That on the mainland, you have a county ordinance of a 30-day minimum. So the barrier islands are where you're going to see. So Siesta Key, Casey Key, Lido Key, Longboat Key, Anna Maria, places like that. You can actually do more short-term weekly rentals.
Yeah.
If the year was only October through July, we would have a perfect year in Key West.
Right, because
We actually surprisingly are having, sorry to interrupt, having a lot more people discover how great our summer is here in Miami. You know, you have to like humidity, you have to be okay with that, but you know, with the humidity comes a nice ocean breeze that you don't get in some of those cities. And we're finding more and more people that bought a home to use it in the winter, and maybe they went to, you know, let's say they were New Yorkers and they went to one of their local beach areas in the summer. They're finding it's easier and more convenient to come here, and they're enjoying it more. So we're seeing a big growth in that population of visitors, part-time homeowners that are taking advantage of our summer season as well.
Yeah.
I think it's important for Florida all around. I mean, our seasons, you know, or, you know, lack of seasons, it is favorable almost all year round to come down from those northern states, from the harsher weather states, and really just experience, you know, it's 80 degrees. I think the past couple of years, it's been close to 80 at Christmas. So instead of having your snowy Hallmark Christmas, you are having a holiday Christmas.
Yeah. Or in the summer, they'll say, well, it's hot here in New York too. So I might as well be hot at a beach or in my swimming pool in Florida. So we are
They
seeing.
can sometimes get here quicker than their beach town that they usually go to.
Right.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, we don't mind humidity because that's good for our skin, ladies, right? We have to preserve ourselves.
June and July are really our big seasons, our big, that's when everybody's going to make the bulk of their money from a rental perspective. But the best time, I think, are April and October. Those are by far the best months to be here.
Do you see July, Tasha, for 4th of July? Because we starting to see a lot of people coming just for the month of July, and they'll leave in April, come back in July.
Oh, interesting. A lot of people, 4th of July is the absolute busiest week here. It's great from an energy perspective, but you know, if you kind of want to have a quieter area, I wouldn't suggest coming that week.
Yeah, same here. We have the boat races, so it's pretty crazy.
So I'd love to talk a little bit about the market of the moment, and the reason why I think this is so important, and I think it's a different conversation with each of you, because we know real estate is localized, right? I think a lot of people in terms of buyers and sellers have this idea that with the pandemic and the aftermath of that the market is slow, that maybe they're even thinking there's some deals to be had. And I think that's on a case by case basis, because we know the seller's motivation, you know, plays into that. So it's possible there can be good deals in any type of a market. But I know from speaking to some of you individually over the last few weeks that your markets are incredibly busy, and multiple offers in some instances, and not on lower priced product. So who would like to start and just give our viewers an idea of what the market is like, and what, you know, you don't have a crystal ball, but what you might see for the rest of the year, and answer this question in terms of someone who's listening and viewing this, that they may be thinking about buying in your area this year. What can you share with them about their opportunities? Michael, you want to start?
All right, I'll go. Our market is really unique right now because they just lifted the roadblock yesterday. We've been shut down from the mainland for over 2 months. And if that isn't a unique experience, we were probably the safest part of the world in terms of an area that nobody from the outside could get in unless they were delivering goods to us. So what was unique in that time period is that we didn't really bring on any new inventory. We actually been selling during that time period because in Florida, real estate was considered essential and we were able to do the business. But I get a sense that right now there's a new buyer that has arrived, and that buyer is acknowledging that if they're going to have to shelter in place again in the future, Florida is high on their list, and we're getting that in a big way here. To Tasha's comment a second ago, we are not where we were in terms of the height of the market, which for us was about 2006. We are way beyond the low. And I think the biggest thing to remember for folks is that we were never really worth what the values were when we plummeted down to the bottom, and we really weren't worth what they were at the top. But right now, the difference is it's an equity-based position that owners are in. So good deals, I don't really see that happening unless some owner of a property really needs to get out because of business matters related to the pandemic for themselves. Others that don't have that issue, what are they going to do? Sell their house and put it in the stock market? Go back up to the country? So that's our market, and I think we have a very good, strong future for us here in the Keys.
Tasha, do you want to add into that?
Yeah, absolutely. So being in the northern Gulf Coast, we are definitely a driving destination, you know, for so many people. I feel like just looking at our market and what's happened since, you know, we had all of Florida had a rental ban up until, I guess, probably what, 2 weeks ago now.
Short.
Since, huh?
Short term, yeah.
Yeah, and so since then, our market's just been very busy. Over the weekend, we had 99 properties that went under contract, which for our little area is a lot. So, you know, we're seeing people looking for anything with a view, anything with privacy. People used to want to have a pool. Now we absolutely need and must have a pool at the property. So, you know, there are a lot of different things that we're seeing. I mean, you know, it's a very good market right now. And I think depending on the comfort level of people and if they're going to want to when they're going to want to get back on a plane to travel, I do see our market, you know, holding really strong through then, especially with our rental numbers, because the rental numbers are so strong right now as well.
Excellent. Cece, what can you share with us on the market at the moment in your area?
I would say probably a little similar to Tasha. So, I mean, our numbers have, as far as market value, they've held fairly strong. Jacksonville and the surrounding areas, there is a lot of land. So we're fortunate to have a lot of new construction in the area to continue to drive. And about 2 weeks ago, the buyers, you know, it was like the buyer ban was lifted. I joke that Florida's great, where it's a great time to be in real estate in Florida because, you know, everyone's a little crazy here. We crave that sunshine. We want to be out. So we've had a lot of seller reluctancy. I would say our age demographic, with it being a little bit on the older side in Amelia Island, we've definitely had some reluctant challenges as far as inventory goes. The buyers are both local and, you know, traveling from New York in that tri-state area, which is our highest relocation into Amelia Island. So there are great opportunities to purchase right now. We are still seeing multiple offers, even in those higher price. And for us, our average there is going to be that 500 to $1 million. So they're very active because there's rentals, there's duplexes, there's a lot of income opportunities up there.
In Miami, Oliver, are you seeing your inventory being absorbed?
We are a little bit. We have not had a lack of inventory the last few years. We've had a pretty reasonable amount, especially in the condo market. Our condo market actually decreased a little bit over the last few years, about 6%, maybe last few years. The single family market has had a smaller inventory, and it's increased quite a bit. But it's interesting right now. You know, we didn't really, the buyers that were buying prior to going into this, they paused a little bit in some cases, but they've all kind of come back into the market already. And what's also happened is we created an entirely new market of buyers. We had quite a few people that actually came to Miami to shelter in place. They rented something, they found a place to stay, they escaped, you know, other cities, some with families because the kids were out of school, so they took advantage. And it's been the first time I think that they've ever been able to spend this much time here. They usually would come down for 2 weeks or a week or something like that. They were here for 2 months, so they've all fallen in love. And they're buying like crazy. They're, you know, some of them are heading back up north and things like that to kind of deal with the summer and whatnot, but they don't want to give this up, so they're buying. So it's actually created an entire new market of buyers for us, people that I don't believe actually would have discovered us if this hadn't happened. So it's been interesting. So it has helped to absorb quite a bit of inventory in the last, especially the last month and a half.
Brandy, what's happening in your market in Sarasota?
So inventory is down about 20%. We are seeing multiple offers. Yeah. Pricing is up 7% with single family homes and 5% with condos. So, you know, we're looking for a lot of off market properties, but we just offer that value proposition to our buyers. We're able to operate as a single agent and act as a fiduciary. So we just say, listen, you know, we will go to bat for you. We will find the perfect property if we have to circle prospect, if we have to call our sphere and just find out, you know, who's looking to move up or move down, especially after COVID. A lot of people want more space. I think they've been stuck inside with their children and their spouse and homeschooling and things of that nature. So we've just had to work around it, but we are still finding great properties for buyers for sure.
And Michael, we'll hear from you. The market at the moment in the Keys.
I started it off, but I would just add to Oliver's statement that, you know, in terms of future rentals, my wife and I do about 150 properties here in the Lower Keys for rentals, and the request of owners to block out next season and keep it off of the rental market for them to use if we are sheltering in place is a new phenomenon. So if there's people watching this thinking, well, they'll just rent for the upcoming year, be careful. A lot of these units are being blocked out by owners for various reasons.
Interesting. Okay. Anybody else that wants to add to the market at the moment? And just think in terms of opportunities for people that are looking at Florida for a place to shelter in place or have a second home. Anything about your market that you want to add?
I'll add. The Keys are the Caribbean of America. We are down here. We are literally called the Caribbean of the mainland Florida. So if you're looking for a beat that's a little different than my counterparts on the screen with me, come on down.
Thank you for that lead-in, Michael. Please, I want each one of you to kind of woo us with your area lifestyle. What can you do when you're there? I mean, I've been in the Keys and I know it's a lot of scuba diving that goes on there. That's why I was attracted to it. But for each one of you, sell us on Miami, on Sarasota, on Amelia Island. Tell us why we should visit and buy.
Well, Miami, I think, is it's a rare, you know, compared to the rest of Florida, it's rare in that, you know, we have these beautiful, amazing beaches and very fluid, laid back lifestyle, but we also really have a wonderful urban existence. We have a very cosmopolitan city with, you know, great arts and entertainment. One of, you know, the largest art show in the world is here, things like that. So it's not for everybody, of course, but for people that maybe they would like to experience the lifestyle of Florida, they'd like to experience the weather, of course, of Florida and the tax benefits, et cetera, but not necessarily give up everything they might be giving up by leaving their major city. If it, you know, DC, New York, Boston, et cetera, it's really a great fit for those types of buyers.
Brandy?
I'm ready to go. I've been waiting.
You were ready. I better call on Brandy because she's ready to talk.
I've been here since 3rd grade, so this is my town. So we're a mid-sized city, and what I love about Sarasota is the commute is no longer than 19 minutes anywhere you go. So that's the average commute. You're never going to be stuck in kind of heavy 1-hour traffic unless there's, you know, an unfortunate incident. You can still get to Tampa for the big city life. You can go to a football game there. We do have spring training with the Atlanta Braves. So we have a lot of people coming from Atlanta now. So we have, and then we have the Baltimore Orioles. We have an international airport that's small. It's very easy to get in and out of. And our beaches. I mean, Siesta Key has crushed quartz. The sand is pure white. It doesn't burn your feet in the middle of summer. And we have arts and cultures too. We have the opera. We have family-owned restaurants, world-renowned restaurants, and we have internationals that come here. So there's lots of culture and it's just so much to offer. 93 golf courses. We have it all.
Wow. 93 golf courses. So, so if you're married and you don't want your husband to play golf, you might
Something in
have some
there.
negotiating to do before you purchase.
There's boating. We just bought a boat, and so we'll come down and see Michael because we can trailer it down there, and
Fun.
it fits all the scuba equipment. So, and you can go diving and spearfishing here. So,
Love it. I love it. Cece, why should I buy in Amelia Island? You know, I had never even heard of Amelia Island. I mean, until about 6 or 7 years ago. I think we did a luxury retreat there. And the year before, one of my very good clients, I'd probably sold him 5 or 6 homes, retired there. So I heard about it twice in a very short period, and I was impressed. So share with us the beauty of your area.
Well, I think we don't have the sandy beaches. However, it's museums, it's festivals, it's art shows, it's art walks. You have farmers markets. I think a lot of people, when you go down, and we call it, you're on the island, even though it's your getaway, it really becomes your home. Even when you're there, the number one thing people say is when they come down is everyone is so nice here. Everyone's so friendly. Everyone wants to get to know you. Everyone wants to talk to you at a restaurant. There's great seafood and theaters, and we have lots of golf and boating, and we have the Omni. We've got beautiful spas here. So you can get away in your own home. So when you retire there, everyone's your friends. There's always something to do. There's socials. So it is vacationing at, in your own home here.
No one can argue with
island.
that. Sounds like an ideal place. So what about you, Tasha? You cover kind of a lot of different areas.
Mhm.
I think people think of Seaside from the Truman Show.
Yeah.
But and it does look like that, right?
Yeah.
But all of your areas, I mean, what is attractive? What really gets people to fall in love?
Yeah. So, the County Highway 38 is 19 miles long, and it's situated right in between Destin and Panama City Beach. So if you want to go, do a lot of stuff like go to the movies or go, do a lot of shopping at, a mall or major stores, you're going to go to Destin or Panama City Beach. Everything on County Highway 38 is mom and pop. It's there's nothing that's chain oriented about it. These are great, great restaurants and stores that are owned by just wonderful people that live here in the area and are hands-on. Small businesses, so is what I should say. But the goal with 30A and a lot of these communities, you had Seaside is 80 acres. You have Watercolor that's right next to it. You have Rosemary a few miles down the street. Rosemary is 107 acres. You have Alice Beach. All these communities have a downtown area. And so they were created so that you could go to your property in Seaside or Rosemary, park your car, and not have to actually, get back in it until you leave to go back home. So golf carts in most of the communities are allowed. You're walking, you're riding your bikes. That 19-mile stretch also has a bike path that goes down the whole way, all 19 miles. So, you're going to the beach, you can go boating, you can, just walk to town and have lunch or have a glass of wine in the evening and stroll through some of the little pathways that are throughout the communities. It's just a really cute and quaint area. Yeah.
You guys have done a great job creating a very tempting picture. You can just visualize it. It sounds amazing. And I do think, obviously these past few months have been very difficult for many people, lots of challenges. But I think one of the things that has resulted from this is the awareness that you actually can work remotely. You can be in one city and do business in another. And I think that is going to open up the idea for many people who had on the shelf the idea of purchasing another home, that maybe they can integrate it into their lives sooner than retirement. And I think we're going to see an influx of that. And those of you that that work this kind of second home market, I think will be benefiting from that very, very, very soon. It's, you know, it's important to make those dreams real sooner rather than later. And at the same time, creating opportunities for a financial portfolio. So, as I said earlier, we are going to go to each one of our experts and take some time to look at properties. They've each brought 2 properties that they're going to share with us. We're going to start with Brandy, and we're going to have Brandy introduce these properties. Just tantalize us with the real estate that you have for us, and talk to us briefly about what we're seeing.
Great. So this is a newer listing. It's very, very close to that international airport in Sarasota. So a lot of CEOs or people that are about to retire as CEOs have contacted us on this one. It's 5,200 square feet. There's what's called non-conforming space below in the garage with an air-conditioned gym, but I'm not including that in the living area. It's just listed under $2.5 million. It's on the bay. You have a direct shot out in deep water. There's a boat lift, a jet ski lift. You also have a kayak float that's shared with the neighbor, and room for a really good sized swimming pool, a very spacious master on the second level, really the third if you include the non-conforming, with a mini kitchen to the right with a pass-through window, its own fireplace. So it's really a retreat upstairs and a nice place to come home to. It's gated and it's very close to downtown, about 5 to 7 minutes to downtown.
Lovely. And what else do you have for us? What's your second property?
So I have a lot of properties that are either remodeled from the company we own for the repair and remodel, or new construction. We work with a lot of builders. This one's very close to the last neighborhood near the airport, Sarasota International. We have properties in here ranging from about $750,000, as you see here, 2-story, great for a family or maybe some retirees that are not going to use the upstairs unless they have guests, but it's really energy efficient with different zones for air conditioning. And it's a small community. There's not a lot of homes in here, all new construction, 2 great builders. So if you want to be in what we call west of the trail, west of 41, near the water, but really can't afford to be right on the water with your boat, you can be close to it. You can walk to the bay and still be close to the beach, the airport, and downtown for a great price, and over 3,000 square feet.
So what would something like this, you know, in a year's time, what could you be looking at in terms of rental income if you chose to go that route?
So for this one, you probably have more of an annual renter. This wouldn't be a seasonal because you're on the mainland. You're still on the bay side here. And so I would think with this, you're probably going to get maybe around 6 or 7,000, just depending on whether it's furnished or unfurnished, things of that nature.
Excellent. Beautiful, beautiful properties. Thank you so much. I think next is Oliver. Is that correct?
Yep, that's me.
There
So
you
this first property is right in the heart of South Beach. It is, it's a condominium, but it's actually set up as a townhouse. So it's a very modern 3-story with a very large roof terrace. It's about 3 blocks from the ocean and right in the Art Deco district. So it's one of the rare new construction as of 2010. So not quite new, but compared to all the Art Deco buildings, which is historic. And for the most part, you can't build new there. It's one of the rare newer constructions. And one of the reasons I included this one is because we're seeing quite a bit, I think, in light of the situation, we're seeing a lot of people showing interest in these sort of smaller boutique buildings with some outdoor space. This one happens to have about 1,000 square feet of outdoor space. It has a ground floor yard entry, and then it also has a very large roof terrace up on the top. I think, you know, the condo lifestyle is, you know, is fabulous here in Miami, but when all the amenities were closed for the last 2 months, it woke some people up onto having a little bit more of their own space, a little bit more of their own privacy, and ability to kind of come and go as they please a little bit easier. So very well priced at just under 700,000. This is a unit that you would rent probably around 3,500 a month, just to give you an idea of what you could return on that.
Okay, and does this have like parking, or how does that work?
Yep, it has garage parking. You actually have scooter parking as well. Very important here in South Beach. So everybody has their own parking space in the garage and their own scooter space. Other than that, it acts very much like a home. You don't really connect with your neighbors too much. You have your own private entry. Everything is your own otherwise, but you share the garage.
Okay, perfect. And let's see, what was that beautiful home I saw just a second ago?
Let's see. Okay, this is actually
that
in the, this is the opposite. This is the, you know, the well-known waterfront high-rise. This is actually in the Brickell neighborhood, which is the very southern portion of downtown Miami. This is a gorgeous building called the Jade Residences. This is actually an interesting example. This is a unit that is rented already. So a buyer could buy this and have a built-in tenant. I think it's rented for about a little over $6,000 a month on a year-round basis. So obviously a cash buyer would cover all of their expenses and then some, and a financing buyer may or may not break even depending on we talked about that a little bit, depending on how much money they're putting down and whatnot. But the type of buyer that maybe has a plan for the future but doesn't want to use it yet, this is a perfect opportunity. This is 2 bedrooms, private elevator entry, wraparound balcony, and incredible views. It's basically the best views you can possibly get. You can see all the way past South Beach, all the way down to Coral Gables, Key Biscayne, everywhere from this. It's really quite phenomenal. You see all the cruise ships. It's a phenomenal view and a beautiful, beautiful building.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Did you tell me what year this was built? Did I miss that?
This one is built in, I think, 2005. So we've had a lot of new builds in the neighborhood over the last about 3 or 4 years. And it's one of the reasons why this is priced as well as it is because they have had a bit of a overbuilding of some of the newer buildings, which has caused, you know, a bit of an extra inventory. I mentioned that before. But what we're finding is the established buildings that were built in that last wave, 2003 to 2006 or so, are they're coming out stronger. They're financially stable. They have a stable residency in them already. Not as many speculators and things like that. So they're really proving to be very popular right now. And this is one of the rare directly waterfront buildings. Most of the buildings in the new wave were not built on the water. They were built back a few blocks and things like that. So this one you're directly on the water.
So these buildings that like I'm seeing in this one view off of this balcony, the ones that are older, are they tearing them down and reputting? I mean, aren't you out of space?
In some cases they are. It's not as easy as you'd think to tear down because most of them are condominiums. So they have to get every owner to agree, or at least in some condo docs, 80% of the owners to agree to sell to a developer to rebuild. And it's not always cost effective. So we are seeing it from time to time, but not as much as you might think. For the most part, your view is going to remain just like it is there. And those buildings are actually to the south anyway. You're sitting directly on water, but those older buildings, those are older, the buildings that were built in the early days of Miami's downtown in the early 80s and into the 90s a little bit. So some of them are quite well-established condominiums.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, Tasha.
Yeah.
What do you have for us today? What can I buy?
First, okay, co-follow. So Watercolor is one of those communities. It's right next to Seaside. You can walk from this property to Seaside. You could ride your bike. You could also take a golf cart. Seaside does have more shops and restaurants there than Watercolor does. Watercolor has some great ones, just not too many. So Seaside and Watercolor kind of merge into one neighborhood a lot of times for that reason. This is the largest home that is in Watercolor. It's 7,568 square feet, 7 bedrooms, 8 baths. We just had a price improvement of 3.6 million. Actually the picture you see with the pool, that is a state park that's behind it. So nothing will ever be built there. So it's a large lot for Watercolor, extremely private, and I think a good home for a Texas person because they like a lot of space.
Sold.
Exactly. Gorgeous 12-foot ceilings inside, and they did a lot of really nice things with that particular home. Yeah.
Beautiful. And so watercolor, I know more about Seaside than watercolor. Are they, the makeup of those two areas, is it a lot of second home owners?
Yes,
The
definitely.
majority, would you say?
Is it what?
The majority, are they
Yes,
the
majority
owners
second
own
home.
properties other places?
Yeah, the majority of second homeowners are, or vacation rentals. Yeah, absolutely. The percentage that actually live in watercolor is very small. I mean, I'd probably say less than 10%.
Wow, that's
Okay.
remarkable.
Mhm.
Very, very interesting. Okay, what else? What's second up for you?
So this one's 24 Born. This is in Rosemary Beach. So this one is on the north side. So we sort of divide things around here as to whether they're on the south side of 30A or on the north side of 30A. This one is on the north side, so it's a little bit further to the beach, but still you're at the beach walking within a 5-6 minute walk. Obviously by bike faster. Rosemary does not allow golf carts, so I wouldn't do that. But it's a 4-bedroom home. There are 3 bedrooms in the main home and then 1 bedroom in the carriage. This is also situated on a little park. If you see on the exterior, you can sort of see the little park that it's on. Only a few of those parks exist in Rosemary. There on the north side. It gives you just a little bit more extra space. It makes you feel a little, like you have a bigger yard, This is one thing to point out about Rosemary that I really love is that it's only about 20 minutes to our international airport, which is very small. And all the major airlines fly into there. So depending on where you are, there may be some direct flights. And so anyway, but yeah, gorgeous, gorgeous property.
So something like this, can you vacation rental this like short term?
You can. This is actually a vacation rental. And the numbers on it, I want to say the rental history for 2019 was around 150,000 gross.
Nice. Nice. That just looks cute. No cars, only bikes.
You can have cars, yes. It's just recommended for the lifestyle to not have one, to not, get in it.
That's lovely. Oh, wow. I really like that. That's gorgeous. Okay. Cece, what do you have for us?
So this first one is Greg Street. This is actually one of our investors. So they've completely gutted the home. It was built in 1965. So they've done a full stud gut renovation, and it's actually 2 separate entrances, which is really fantastic whenever you are having your vacation rentals, especially for multifamily. Whenever you have a lot of friends to get together, you have a lot of separation here. So it does have 2 separate entrances. It is right across the street from the ocean. So not oceanfront, however, is right across the street. Everything, the quartz counters, the wood flooring has been completely redone. And she is selling this unit furnished. So for $975,000, she made a price improvement to get it just under that $1 million mark. It's almost 3,000 square feet with a total of 7 bedrooms, fully furnished. There is also a detached shed. So this would be great for someone to buy as an investment that's a full-time vacation rental, or someone that wanted to purchase this and use the secondary portion for like as an apartment rental to offset that cost of their mortgage if they wanted to have that as their primary. So there's a lot of multi options with this. This is actually on American Beach, and it's on the south end of our island, and it's very close to the Ritz. So you can go up to the bar and the spas and just enjoy Greg Street.
Wonderful. That looks great. Okay, what about the next one?
So the next one, this one is an off-island property. So you would primarily, again, Amelia Island has a high retirement. So you could get a great long-term rentals here and would be a really great retirement. So it is priced at $725,000. You can already see the pricing here. It's just a really great value for rentals. This one is just over 4,000 square feet. And what's great about these communities here, this is in the Northampton community, is all of the in-house activities that they do. It is closed in, so they do have their own community clubhouse. They do have their own oyster roast and socials. That's very, very social. They have their own committees. And the homeowners association dues actually include the cable, the internet, and security, which is very unique to Northampton.
That's a lot of square footage for the price.
Mm-hmm. Very, very affordable in Northeast Florida. So it is desirable for a lot of for the Northeast section of just New Jersey, New York, and our taxes are anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 a year in that $500 to $1 million range. So extremely affordable, low fees as well.
So what is that? Is it a tax rate calculation? Is that how it works in Florida?
So I'm assuming like we work off a millage rate. So they're all different throughout each city and the different counties. So we have like Atlantic Beach and Ponte Vedra Beach, the main area of Jacksonville, and on the island is different than off the island. So they're all taxed a little differently.
Interesting. That's a great value. Okay. Last but not least, Michael, are you going to try to sell me something?
Sure. But first I'm going to say welcome to the land of very small houses by comparison to my my other agents on the web today. So I decided to pick a couple for unique reasons. This one is in what I call the greater Casa Marina area, our Waldorf Astoria classic hotel brought into Key West by Henry Flagler that built the railroad all the way down the Keys. Ended up only about a quarter mile away from this property. I picked this one because it is a very low maintenance, sensible home, 3 bedrooms. It's actually 2.5 baths. The property was completely renovated in 2015. And then the guest house you see in the one upper left-hand corner on the back was just added in the last couple of years. Owned by a landscape lighting and sprinkling system family here in the Key West area. So that is all wonderful, but a tropical oasis, concrete construction. So you're not dealing with the ongoing painting of wood. It'd be available turnkey. And for us, just a great location, about 4 blocks away from Higgs Beach, 4 blocks away from the hotel, and a little bit of a ride into downtown, but on bike it'd be there in about 10 minutes or so. So for us, Paradise isn't cheap, but you save on gas. I think I only put 1 tank of gas in for the last 2 months. So with that, you get what you get.
It's beautiful, beautiful. Okay, what's your second option to share with us?
Well, I have to make sure that you know that we're on the water. We have kind of a 1 mile wide string of keys that ends right here at this doorstep. If you were to look to the right, you see the Gulf of Mexico. If you look to the left, you're looking at the Atlantic Ocean, and straight ahead is the famed Key West sunset. So this is a property that's in the gated community of the Truman Annex, right downtown, kind of mile marker -0.3, if you will. 2 blocks away from the Mallory Square sunsets, a gated community that is an area of transient rentals. I believe that Oliver mentioned that a little earlier. That is a terminology. If it's transient in our neck of the woods, that's less than 30 days, weekly rental. That really adds value to the property because that's really something in our area that gives you a greater return. So a property like this would probably do about $140,000 gross, knowing that the owner would use it. And it's an 1,850 square foot, 3 bedroom, 3 bath.
Wow, you guys, I'm ready to pack my bags. I don't know. I want to be at the beach. This has been incredible. I'm just like pleasantly surprised by the options, the variety of options, and also just that it makes good financial sense too. So thank you so much. We are out of time. The hour goes by incredibly fast. So thank you to everyone. And for those watching, please share this link with others and share what you've learned today. You never know where your next opportunity might be as an agent, or you can help clients kind of reach their dream of owning a vacation home and kind of think of the impact that you can make on their lives. And for those of you who are not agents but interested in making a purchase, the contact information will be shared here, and reach out to them. Reach out to your local Keller Williams agent. Remember that we have over 850 offices in the U.S. and in countries all over the world, so we can make dreams happen and create the experiential life that you all desire. So thank you so much to Brandy, Oliver, Cece, Tasha, and Michael for being so generous to share your information with us today. So I'm ready to go to the beach. I don't know about you guys. Next month we are going to be visiting our KW offices in France. I might wear a beret. I haven't decided yet, maybe. But please be on the lookout for that date and time and join us. So until then, take care from Austin, Texas. This is Jeanette Spinelli with the Spinelli Residential Group. So make it a powerful day, stay healthy, and above all else, be kind. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks,
Jeanette.
Jeanette.
Thank